Well, here it is the 27th day of May. We'll walk up here and see what the food plot looks like. Now, we planted this on the 13th as beans, and we had 2 inches of rain on there, which was really saturated. And so that'd be 2 weeks basically. The 13th, what would that be? Well, anyway, from the 13th of May to 27th day of May, my onboard computer ain't working right. So ever how many days that is, we'll walk up here and see what it looks like. Here's the rain gauge over here. Tell us how much rain we had early this morning on the 27th. Mercy sakes alive. Huh. That's right at 2 inches in there, up here on the bean field. So that's 4 inches of rain in 2 weeks. As you can see, we got emergence. This row was perfect. This was exactly what I wanted it to be. You can see it's spaced right down the center. Now, some of them aren't, because I was having a hard time seeing the marker because it just wasn't marking quite right. And my idea was, if I would have had time, I was going to go down through here and go on my 38-inch rows, and I was going to mark it with orange paint, which would have worked good, but we were pushed for time, and we just didn't have time, and I can see some of this didn't work out right. So, but in spots it did, so that's good. You can see my plan, it would have worked, but in that first part it worked great. Plus I got double rows that are a little tight, and then I don't know, I must have missed this area, but that was because, you know, the rain event coming in and trying to get going. But we got beans, and I'll take whatever it is. Like I said, I was really having a hard time with the planter, and the marker wasn't really marking good, and I was looking straight into the western sun. So, but we do got beans coming up. So that's 2 weeks of germination, and we got a lot of come up through that leftover corn residue, so we don't have any bare ground. But they're only going to get better, and I don't have a whole lot of weeds in here, which is a good thing. But I can see them; they're poking their head up the velvet leaf. But I know how to take care of that. But so, just doing that audit. Like I say, some places that a little lack of germination, but what I might do is just come in and broadcast some beans on in some of those areas, which if we right before a rain. But and I can roll them. You might not be able to see them on camera because they're just emerging, which is good, because I was really glad that they got up through there before the ground got hard packed. And this area in here, as you can see, the green, that's where the Conceal was planted, and I broadcasted that on by hand. This is the product Conceal that you can see that has emerged as we hauled it in. That's what all that green is, and so that'll grow. This is in its infancy. Later on it should be 5 to 6 feet tall. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I was having a lot of problems that night and rushing and trying to get stuff done, and bent the tongue on the planter, and the closing wheel wasn't working right when I decided to double roll it. But well, we do got germination, and it's only going to get better. We got the moisture in the ground, and it was like a sort of a close to no-till as you're going to get with the cornstalk residue, and no erosion on the field. And like I say, where I started out, it was exactly what I wanted. You can really see the double row effect, but I say the planter was acting up and everything was in a hurry up state, but they're in there and all they're going to do is grow better. And up to here, this was where another strip of Conceal was put in. That's the green in between the rows. So now this is just grass, so we'll get it out of there. Anyway, we got beans in there and they come up, and they'll do pretty good. Like I say, here was some of that misguided row, how close those are, but I just couldn't see the marker very well sometimes, and it didn't work out. And like I said, my plan was I could have measured the 38 inch and walked up through there and spray painted an orange line. Then I would have knew I was right on the center, but oh well, shit happens. My theory would work, and right there is an example of how it worked. You couldn't ask for any better. But see, I'm headed straight west right now, and the sun was in my face, and it was really hard to see that, this measure up in that center row and get back in the path. But someplace I did good, other places I failed miserably, but my theory is still there. So if any of you guys want to work on that, put your 38 inch row in, and then all you got to do is step off every so often, mark your rows with that orange marking paint, and then follow that up there. But I didn't have that opportunity, the time didn't allow that. But I got the beans, and we're going to go up here and look at the power plant. See, this was perfect right here. This was exactly what I was looking for. But unfortunately, things don't always go the way you plan them. See how that are spaced out perfect. And here, what we're looking at here now, because of all this green coming across here, this is the power plant, and we planted that on that ridge, and it's coming up. It's not weeds per se, it is the power plant, and it'll be sunflowers and a forage bean and whatever, you know, quite a mixture. But that was broadcasted in here, and you can see the germination on that, so it's coming along just fine. This dirt's still mellow enough. I gotta watch the forecast, because they still got plenty of time to plant ag beans. It's not a life or death situation by any means. You can plant them clear through June, and but you want to make sure you plant them in front of a rain event. But I'd say my rain event was an urgency, but I'm really happy to show you, like I say, the results that worked. Sort of not saddened in any way. It just, my theory was right. I just have to hone it in a little better, and maybe not. But when you're under stress and weather changing, it was really hard to get this row spacing. But they're going to grow, and they're all germinating. So, and like I say, that's a perfect example of what you're trying to do with that 38 inch planter. And boy, do we got ground cover. I don't know if turkeys lay their eggs in there. We did have 2 inches of rain up here on the big field. And like I say, it come down pretty good, and as you notice with all that corn residue, there's no erosion whatsoever on that field. We'll walk back down here. I want to show you something that I got resolved. Boy, the tonnage of Borascas and carryover from last year. Just to show you how high that is. That's waist high. And serves a purpose. Get some browse for free. It's worked in the late season. And they're not really endowed on eating it that much right now, but it's still there. And when I turn it under, it'll be green manure, not bullshit.